Tensions in West Asia have now brought two nuclear global superpowers face to face, one that completely changes the entire equation, militarily or diplomatically. China has openly challenged the U.S. over the Strait of Hormuz blockade. In fact, two Chinese ships have defied the Hormuz blockade, which has triggered a major showdown between the two countries. This comes after China issued a blunt warning against any attempt to impose a naval blockade on Iran. China maintains that the Strait of Hormuz must remain open for global trade and Chinese energy supply lines. Beijing has made it clear that its economic cooperation with Iran will not be subject to outside interference, with Chinese officials stressing that stability of Hormuz is essential for global energy security.
At a time when the relevant parties have already reached a temporary ceasefire arrangement, the U.S. escalation of military deployment and its targeted blockade action will only exacerbate contradictions, heighten tensions, undermine the already fragile ceasefire situation, and further jeopardize the safety of passage through the strait. This is dangerous and irresponsible behavior.
Now, Beijing continues to emphasize that safety, stability, and unimpeded passage from Hormuz are critical to international trade. Hormuz is a vital lifeline for the world's second largest economy, and the numbers explain why 40% of China's crude oil imports, along with 30% of its LNG imports, flow through the strait. But the confrontation between the two countries escalated from words to water. According to shipping tracker websites, two China-linked vessels moved through the strait despite the blockade that was imposed by the United States yesterday. Now, reports suggest that both of these ships have been sanctioned by the United States. Reports also suggest that the U.S. blockade of Hormuz may be aimed at preventing energy transactions in China's yuan, which challenges the petrodollar system and a major way to bypass the American sanctions. The U.S. Central CENTCOM claims more than 10,000 U.S. sailors, Marines, and airmen, along with over a dozen warships and dozens of aircraft, are executing the mission to blockade ships entering and departing Iranian ports. It says that no ships breached the blockade in the first 24 hours, with at least 6 merchant vessels turned back after complying with American directions. Now, the ripple effect is also being felt across the Gulf. Saudi Arabia and other regional powers are reportedly urging Washington to step back from escalation and return to diplomacy. They warn that a prolonged blockade standoff could trigger energy shocks and destabilize the region even further. America and China have not been on the same page over the ongoing conflict. Following the start of the hostilities in February, Beijing, remember, had condemned the Israel-US attack against Iran. Donald Trump has also threatened to slap an additional 50% tariff on Beijing if it supplies weapons to Tehran. Now, according to an intelligence assessment report, Beijing could be preparing shipments of air defense systems to Iran. China has dismissed such reports as groundless and malicious. All of this has been unfolding as Xi Jinping hosts Abu Dhabi Crown Prince Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan in Beijing. During the meeting, Xi proposed a 4-point roadmap for peace in West Asia as well, and this is as per the Xinhua news agency. Now, the proposal calls for upholding peaceful existence, respecting national sovereignty, coordinating development and security, and safeguarding the international rule-based order. And that brings us to the bigger question. Beyond the strait itself, what does this mean for the upcoming Trump-Xi meeting? Donald Trump has said that he will visit China on the 14th and 15th of May. This will be a first direct trip by a U.S. president in nearly 10 years. Launching a blockade that directly threatened Chinese energy interests just 30 days before sitting down with Xi Jinping in Beijing might be a negotiating tactic that Trump wants to avoid. Meanwhile, international diplomatic efforts continue to calm things down in West Asia. Just a while back, Donald Trump called Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, where the two leaders discussed bilateral ties and the situation in West Asia. In fact, taking to social media, PM Modi released a statement as well, saying, and I quote, "We reviewed the substantial progress achieved in our bilateral cooperation in various sectors. We are committed to further strengthening our comprehensive global strategic partnership in all areas." We also discussed the situation in West Asia and stressed on the importance of keeping the Strait of Hormuz open and secure. Now remember, this is the third phone call between the two leaders this year and the second since the US and Israel launched their war against Iran.